What is going on, people? Welcome back into the channel. We are just a few days away from Coventry City returning from international break against Norwich City in a showdown at the CBS. Today, we are going to go through what the game is going to look like, the keys to victory, a couple predictions, look at some betting, bookies, odds, and then just kind of break it down and see how we think things are going to go. At the end, I'll give my mock lineup, who I think the starting 11 is going to be. There's maybe 3 or 4 positions this week that aren't as set as they were maybe 2 weeks ago before, some people got injured, some transfers, obviously, we've talked about. So yeah. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jonah Fat Cat. I make EFL Championship and mainly general football content. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. While you're down there, like the video, comment. I like to respond to every comment, so get down there, let me know your thoughts, what you agree and what you disagree with. And if you've been on the channel before, maybe it looks a little bit different here, other than the fact that I'm not wearing a shirt, obviously. It is September. That means we are less than 2 months away from Halloween. So we went and we swapped out a couple things. We did have to keep the Jack Radoni statue, but we changed the color of the lights. It's getting spooky up here. Keep an eye out for October 31st, Halloween, Wrexham versus Coventry City live stream. That's all I'm going to say for now. So there's 4 major points I want to talk through today on how to win this game. The first one is going to be pretty easy to get through, so we'll just do it here without switching over to the green screen and giving some actual real analysis. Key number 1 to winning this match: score more goals than Norwich City. Yes. All right, we got our humor out of the way for this video today. Thank you if you're still here. Second key, technically. We need to stop and we need to slow down Joshua Sargent. Joshua Sargent is an established championship striker. He has done it before. Injuries have stopped him from reaching his true peak, but he's in the prime of his career and he's off to a very, very hot start. People are booking him in as the Golden Boot winner right now, 4 games into the season. Talk about overreaction, am I right? He started 4 matches, he scored 5 goals, and to be fair, he's looked very, very lethal. He's looked lethal in different ways. He's been able to score from the penalty spot. He's been able to take defenders on and make runs himself. He's also been able to get on the back of a through ball and put one past the keeper. So there's many ways that he can score. I watched him pretty intensely with the U.S. men's national team this past weekend against South Korea. We lost. Heung-min Son scored the first goal. Absolutely outclassed us. But I want to look at what Josh Sargent did in that game. I'm going to guess before even opening it. Stats-wise, it looks absolutely shocking. 7 of 11 passes, 17 touches, 1 touch in the opposition box. That is pretty tough, if I'm being completely honest with you. First off, the USA couldn't create chances, but that's a story for a different video. I don't think anyone really cares about that. Just from what I picked up in that game, Josh Sargent is very, very active off the ball. Even when he's on the ball, he's not scared to take touches. He's not scared to take on defenders, as we saw in the last game before the international break, where he took on maybe 3 defenders from the midway line and he scored a banger upper 90. He's actually stronger than he looks. Let's pull up a picture of him right now. Yes, if you don't know, this is what he looks like. He's got sneaky, sneaky strength. I watched him take on South Korean center backs who aren't any slumps. They beat us. These guys play in big leagues. They play Bundesliga, a couple guys from the championship, and he was putting in a very, very physical match. He was a pest to them. His press is very, very strong. It makes sense that they run him up top as a single striker, because just his press is enough to put pressure on a back line, especially ours, who hasn't been the most accurate passing wise. Not that that's something we care too much about, but we know Bobby Thomas can be a little inaccurate with his passes, catching too at times. So his press is definitely something that we want to make sure we're aware of. I'm sure Frank is aware of it, and they are, studying it and figuring out how to break it this week. It helps when you got guys like Milan Van Ewijk, even Jay Da Silva out on the wings that you can pass the ball to. Just hope that they don't push too far forward. The confidence factor of thinking that they're going to score hundreds of goals every game and then they leave our center backs out to dry, because that then would grab Grimes and have him drift back, and then, the midfield is so wide open. That's pretty much issues that we've ran into this season. So just make sure that we can beat his one-man press. He'll probably have Ante Chernak and Matthias Kvistgarten behind him with the press as well. They play kind of behind him in their lineup. Based on their last match, what did they run? Something along the lines of a 3-4-2-1. Probably turns into more of a 3-4-3 as the game goes on, but we're not going to get too nitpicky with that. So we got to make sure that we slow down Sargent, have Bobby or Liam Kitching just man mark him, just make sure we know where he is at all times. You figure Grimes is probably going to sit back and kind of shadow him in a way, because the way that I saw him play, even in a game where the rest of the players around him weren't doing anything, he is very clinical. He can create something from nothing. He only had 1 touch inside the box. I swear he had 3 or 4 plays where he got the ball with his back to the net just outside the box, which can be dangerous. If he's got runners to the side, he drags defenders. We know that he commands defenders to come in towards him. And then if he can dish it out, that could potentially be a one-on-one with Rushworth. So we got to be careful with that. But I think Grimes strips back, and then one of the two center backs is focused on man marking him. We will be okay there. Next, you could probably already see it, but this one goes for multiple reasons. We need to learn and we need to focus on defending set pieces against this team. They have already scored from a set piece this season. We'll watch the replay in a second. On top of that, we also have been susceptible to them, as we know the stat of 6 of our goals, all 6 this season, have been from set piece opportunities, including a penalty. So here we see Harry Darling at the near post, just whipped in beautifully. And, free defender, definitely a defensive blunder by Portsmouth. But that shows that's something that they work on. That's something they're good at. And that's something that we've shown that we're maybe not the best at. So we need to make sure that we defend the set pieces. We need to make sure we defend the corners well. And then no stupid fouls by our defenders, by our midfielders tracking back. No stupid fouls in dangerous areas. Even where that goal was from. I don't want any stupid fouls out there either. If you're going to foul someone, make sure it's super far away where they can't put a set piece in. Because the way to not concede set pieces is to not give them up. So mentally up here, just need to be a little bit stronger. I understand there's situations where people are going for the ball and, they accidentally clip them. That I understand. You're putting all your effort in. It's professional sports. But we don't want those stupid fouls where their goalkeeper booms it forward. There's one player trying to get it. Sargent's trying to go up with Liam Kitching and Bobby Thomas sandwiching him. And then one of them grabs at his shirt. He sells it and he calls a foul. They've got good players. They've got players that have been established this season. They've got players that are veterans. They know how to draw fouls. Their back line has hundreds of games of experience. Sargent has experience. Chernak has a year of experience. Kavisgarden doesn't have experience, but he definitely knows the art of flopping. I've seen his highlight tapes from his previous team. That guy's very, very good, and he knows when to sell a foul. And that's no disrespect to him. That's literally just him saying he knows how to use gamesmanship to his advantage. So we need to be careful. We need to make sure that we don't give away stupid set pieces, because ultimately, if we get one, we probably know what's going to happen, as it's been 4 games now where we've seen it. Technically 3, but you know what I mean. Okay, last order of business before we get into our mock starting 11 for this game. We need to talk about the formation that they run and how that's going to play into our advantage in this matchup. So you can see right here, Norwich City play 3 in the back. They've got 2 wing backs that are tracking up and down the pitch all game. They are putting in a shift. The way that we can break this down is we want to separate this back line. We want to draw them out to the wings. And then when we do that, we're then going to force guys like Diallo, Fisher, whoever is on the right going into this match to come back and not be able to provide any attacking outlets if and when we do lose the ball on their side of the pitch. So that leads us to a very important point of who are we going to start in the attack this game. For those reasons that I just said right there, we want to have someone down the wing at all times. We have no issues with Efron Mason-Clark. He knows his position. He stays out on the wing. Now we got to look to the right. You look at Brandon Thomas Asante, who's been playing really, really good. And honestly, it's a bit unlucky, but tactically, I think this is the time to drop him for Sakamoto. Get him back up to full fitness. I expect him to be ready to go at least 60, 70 minutes. And then also, on the flip side, if and when you need Brandon Thomas Asante, I think he could be more impactful as a super sub just because of how chaotic and how forward and how attacking he can be compared to Sakamoto. So he might be a better fit for the first 60 minutes, because what he's going to do is he's going to draw Diallo back. He's going to draw Crisene out. They have a pretty experienced squad, especially 2 of their center backs, so Darling and Medic. Now you've got Benjamin Crisene. Probably butchered the pronunciation. He's 21 years old, and this is definitely the side of the pitch that we are going to want to attack. If you can play down this wing, you have Jack Radoni shift over, you have Milan Van Ewijk come over and push up. Then you've got Sakamoto, true winger, down the right side. What you're going to do is you're going to draw these guys out of their natural position. And then when the ball is turned over, they're going to be in trouble because they're going to have no outlets. All they're going to be able to do is boom one forward and hope that one of these guys can get on the end of it, maybe draw a foul, like we said with the set pieces. So I think that the key to the game is to bring in Sakamoto, hold possession. Norwich City are definitely a team that wants to hold possession. Possession-wise, percentages, they're very similar to us, but you expect us to dominate possession for the most part on our home pitch. We've definitely looked excited this year, so sometimes they may forget to, take a touch, slow things down. The team and Frank definitely probably looked back at the clips and they saw in that second half against Norwich City especially, they could have suffocated the game. They could have deflated it by just holding possession. So they'll be more aware of that this game, especially considering the fact that, they're going to be defending a lot of the times with 5 guys, maybe even 6 guys in the back line. So they're going to have to be smooth. They're going to have to be methodical, slow with their build up to find the right angles and not just turn into repetitive crossing and crossing and crossing and crossing, because I know that was one of the big issues going into the season. So let's spread out that back line. Let's create some gaps in between the center backs. Let's pull the wing backs back. Let's keep them out of position. Let's keep them defending all game. And then as soon as they steal the ball, they're going to have to boot it forward and you take it right back. So that is going to lead us into what I think should be the lineup for this game. You can already see that a couple of them are already filled in because in my opinion, these are just ones that are guarantees. So up top, you've got Haji Wright. The midfield three is set, especially now after the bench chief departure. So you've got Redoni, Grimes, and Victor Trapp. Apparently that's his name now. We know Milan Van Ewijk is going to start. We know Carl Rushworth is going to start. So where does that leave us? I think we get the gist of my thoughts for this game. We need Sakamoto. We want him to be up here. I'll make it more realistic. It's probably looking something like that. Milan is definitely going to be up a little bit more. Grimes is going to sit back because he's going to be tracking Sargent. Now, Jay Da Silva, is he fit? If he's fit, he is absolutely going to be the starter. If he's not, I think, even though people are saying Brow, I think it will be Bidwell. The reason I think it's going to be Bidwell, I don't think that Frank and the team trust Brow yet. You could tell by the small amount of play time he's had. Brow was coming on as a left back, and he played, 5-6 games, including preseason, as a left back. I'd say it's probably going to be him, but they were bringing him on as left winger, left mid at times. So I think right now, confidence-wise, for a full 90 minutes, probably want to start with Bidwell, go to Brow if you need that attacking threat. Or I could see it the other way around, where you start with Brow, and then if you need to buckle in, then you bring in Bidwell. But I just think that's what's going to happen. Probably unpopular, but that's my thoughts. Next, we're going to the center backs. So now this is definitely another big area of debate, but I've decided that I think it's going to be Kitching on the left. That hasn't changed my thoughts in the past 2 weeks, even after the Wolfie signing. And now, 2 weeks ago, or whatever it was, a week ago when the signing came through of Wolfie, I said to myself, I think Bobby might be out right away. But I've done some reflecting on that. I don't think that's fair to him, and I don't think Frank would just jump and do that. Yes, he did have the stones to put Torp in over Sheaf on opening day, but I can't see that happening. In a game like this with a team that is a very, very threatening attack, I think he will go with what you know for at least the first 60 to 70 minutes. Who knows? Maybe even he gets 45 minutes in the second half, Wolf ended. He'll probably get brought on at some point. Maybe if one of them goes on a yellow, that's how he'll decide it. But I think if it was just a straight 1-for-1, no outside factors, as in no one took any knocks during the game, no yellow cards, I think he'd probably go in for Thomas. Some people care, some people don't about, the left and right footed. So technically, tactically wise, he would be going in on the right side. I don't know if that's that big of a deal. I just think that Kitching has been the better center back, even though going into the season, I think we all thought it would be the opposite way around. So that's how it looks like. That's how I think we're going to line up. I wouldn't be surprised to see Brow. I wouldn't be surprised to be Da Silva. To be honest, I think Da Silva is going to be fine. This is what the attack is going to look like. If he went with BTA, I understand. Hot hand. Gotta ride it. But we did have a 2-week break, and I'm sure Sakamoto's been putting in a shift because he saw that, his position was sort of getting threatened for a little bit. So that's what we're thinking today. Now, prediction-wise, I think FootMob has the odds up. Yeah, they do. So according to FanDuel, Coventry City are pretty heavy favorites. Makes sense. They're the home team. So draw is the second most likely outcome, and then Norwich City win on the road is the least likely. I don't think this game is going to be as easy as that line suggests. I feel like this is something along the lines of a 2/3-1 match. I think that Coventry are going to go ahead. I then think they will equalize Norwich City, and then Cov will go on and score again in the second half to go up 2-1. And then I could see a late goal when, they try to switch up tactics and try to put more men forward. So I'm going to go 3-1. I'm going to go 3-1 Coventry City here. We're going to get Haji Wright a goal. There's no question. I think Redoni will get on the score sheet. And do we dare say a Victor Torp again? Does he continue the madness, or do we go with someone less likely? Do we go with a set piece goal? Imagine Wolfie scored in his first match. That would be a statement, especially to Bobby Thomas, who is known for scoring goals. So those are my thoughts for today. That is how we are going to approach this game, and that's how we're going to win this game, and we're going to move on to the next couple tough fixtures. So if you made it to the end, thanks a lot. Let me know what you agree and disagree with down below. I will see you guys hopefully one more time before the game. If not, keep an eye out for my post-match reaction. Keep an eye out for match streams. I'm starting to feel out the ideas of maybe doing watch-alongs for away days, because I know a lot of you are at the game on home matches. And peace.